we've made it to Rotterdam, and we just got off the train and we're here in our hotel lobby, just waiting for our room to get ready. She said about 10 minutes. It's been about a little more than 10 minutes now, so we'll see here. Hope they haven't forgot about us. But this is sort of a suite, a self-efficiency type
efficiency
suite. Yeah, that's the words I'm looking for. Words fail me. It's just back and forth between many languages. Yeah, really. But anyways, yeah, so we'll sit here and we'll wait, and then we've got to go out and do some exploratory runs, because tomorrow we're going to, what's it called? Kinderdijk, and we're going to probably take the water taxi to it. So we have to figure out where the water taxi picks you up from. Do we already have tickets for the water taxi?
Yeah, we have tickets, but I'm not sure if it's a return ticket or a one-way ticket.
Oh, well, I guess we have to figure that out too. So they told us that 10 minutes was turning into more of a 30-minute wait, but at the risk of someone criticizing me and think I'm complaining and being very negative, and you know who you are out there, I am not. We're just enjoying the downtime, and we got complimentary coffee as well. So we have all the time in the world. So it's not a rush at all.
Just we left a little early than we thought.
Yeah, we left earlier than we thought on the train anyways. So, and the train here was pretty efficient, no problems. It was busy, and I was really glad we had first class tickets. But when we first got on the train in Zwolle, and looking for the first class one, the first part we went into that was first class was pretty much filled.
Yeah.
But they don't put the first class cars all in the same spot. Some of them are at the beginning and the end of the train, but there's sometimes ones in the middle too, and you're never sure until it gets into the station where it's going to be, so you're not sure where to stand on the platform. But we got off and went down to the middle part of the train, found one of the cars marked 1, so we went in there, and there's plenty of room in that one, and we got a seat and we were fine. Then we had to change the trains at Gouda, or Gouda. Yeah, whatever. And that was, there was less people, and we were pretty much in a section all by ourselves on that ride. But that wasn't much. That was only about a 11-minute ride from Utrecht to here, which is Rotterdam. So anyways, the train's working out pretty well, and we have been checked several times to make sure we're in the right class. We've got the ticket and everything. So what we were talking about before, yeah, they seem to be very conscious of that and do check them out. So luckily we didn't try. We played by the rules. We paid the money for it, and we were fine and dandy. So we'll see once we get our room here. We'll take a look at a little bit more of Rotterdam. Okay, so we've checked into our room in Rotterdam, and it is a suite, a self-efficiency suite. So we do have a living room kind of thing, couch, television set, and it's kind of an open concept because this moves right into the bedroom from here. We have a view of Central Station and the city. And we have a television set in the bedroom as well, which is nice. We have utility closets, which are nice to have. Yes, and there's an iron, there's a safe, and a ironing board in there as well. The bathroom looks very nice. Look, counter space, that makes me happy. You know how I love my counter space. And nice looking shower and everything. So that looks good. And the kitchen area, we have a table. And we have a dishwasher, a small dishwasher, an oven, a hot top, a coffee maker. Looks like it's a type of Nespresso spin-off kind of thing. And a tea kettle. And in the cupboards, there are plates, and there is a toaster, and there's cutlery and flatware and cooking utensils. And yeah, this one looks quite nice. I do question the coffee at the point of being negative. I don't want to be negative. I'm just looking at the unique style of the coffee table. Yes. I don't have any feelings one way or the other about that. Oh, there's all these drawers too. So are these meant for your clothes or something? You got a hairdryer bag. Yeah, empty. What's in here? Nothing much. So I guess that's just additional storage space. Oh, how are our outlets for things? We have plugs there. There's some kind of little thingy there. I wonder if that goes to the TV.
Oh, there's
Well, there's a couple of USBs.
is that USBs or is that?
Or is that HDMs?
I don't know what that is. I don't think they're USB.
I don't know what they are. They're full of dust. So they might be old technology. But what do we have in here?
They're not USB plugs.
No. We have in here, well, we have something similar in here, but I think those are USB plugs. Now, is there stuff on the other side?
Oh, not really.
No, there's a plug. But that's okay because the adapter plug I've got has got USB A's and C's in it, which will do everything for me. So, yeah, actually that looks like it's an Ethernet cable. And it's plugged in there. I wonder where the Ethernet cable goes.
Is that the phone that's plugged into the Ethernet? cable?
Oh.
It might be a voice over internet protocol.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So anyways, bed looks nice and comfy. It's a king. It is a king, isn't it? Or is that a queen?
That's a good question. Might be a queen.
Might be a jester. I don't know. Either way, it's fine. But it's very clean. So yeah, this is our home away from home for the next 5 days as we explore Rotterdam and other areas outside of it. Here's a little better view of the city from our room. Rotterdam's very modern because it was bombed heavily during the Second World War and they basically bombed it to the ground. So they had to rebuild. So that's why the buildings and everything look a lot more modern than what we saw in Zwolle and even in Amsterdam. But we are going out to explore. So I don't know if we're in the central part of the city or not, but there's all of this down here. It looks like it's a shopping district. So right now we're just trying to get our bearings on everything. So we think we're kind of in the central area of the downtown. So you can see it here. So we're not really sure where they, oh yeah, look, this is a wave thing, like a wave tank, and they're going to surf, I guess, on it. This is right in the center of town. Here it comes. Well, that's something you don't see every day. So we're in the market hall. Take a look at the ceiling. That's a peanut butter store. Fresh peanut butter. And look, herring way over there. And they've got loose herring. Yeah, what's that mean? So we're looking here at the peanut butter store, and they have these little small jars. You can get 3 of them for $7.95. So you could try. So they got flavors like chili pepper, lemongrass, coffee sea salt, caramel sea salt, coconut sea salt. Well, what, do you want to get 3? jars
come
to
back.
try, or we'll come back? Okay. Just some random shots here of everything that's in here. You name it, they have it. And when it comes to food, lots and lots of things. Flatbreads. Cheese and more. So this is at the other end. And there's what it looks like from the front side.
And if you look, there's a big heart.
Oh yeah, so there is. I don't know if that's showing up in the camera, but there's a big heart. But at night it all lights up. So maybe that does too. Probably does. Looks like it's LED. Oh, it is lit up, yeah. But probably more visible, of course, at night. So you see all the little windows all the way around the arch. Those are all condos. So people live here too, right over top of the food
And
mall.
they have windows that look inside.
Yeah, if you look in there, you can see there's windows.
Even windows on the ceiling.
Yeah. Okay, that must be interesting. You look right up their gitch. I guess you want to make sure you're wearing underwear if you live in one of those ones. But at least, what's for dinner? Always something different. You just pop down to get something. Some really interesting architecture here. And there's, over in the distance, hard to see it from right here, but we'll walk by it later. There's the cube houses. And we don't know what this thing is here. But it is something. This is a better view of the cubed houses. If you go onto the internet, you can look these up and you can see what they look like inside. You can go in one too, but I don't think it's, from what I saw, it's really not. It's just a box. And it's got, you'll bump your head a lot. Possibly fall out a window because everything's on a slant. There you can see on the other side of the market hall, you see the balconies for all the condos that are around it that I was pointing out before. So we found this place on the side of the street, and I don't know if we're ever going to get to order or not. She keeps looking at us and then walks away.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
Maybe because I'm still looking at them.
Well, maybe. Put it down. Walter likes to memorize menus. It's his hobby he has. So this is called Opa's Pizza, or Opa's menu.
Obas.
Opa's.
Oba.
Oba.
Oba. Oba is O-P.
Yeah, okay. Oba.
O-P. Oba.
Whatever Oba. And does Opa have a meaning?
It looks like it maybe the Mediterranean owned or whatever because they have halal stuff on it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, we got 2 beers and 2 pizzas. We'll see what this is all about when it comes. Okay, so we ordered 2 pizzas. This is the crispy chicken, and this is the pepperoni. And they look pretty good, actually. We'll see how they taste. Okay, we are approaching an infamous statue here in Rotterdam that we saw on YouTube, and people were very upset about it when it was created. It's supposed to be Santa Claus, but when we see the front of it, well, you tell me what you see. And it's Think Rude Thoughts. Here we go.
I think the seagulls are shit on it.
Okay, What do you think that is that Santa is holding? That's supposed to be a Christmas tree. Right. I think that little...
Actually, it's supposed to be an ornament.
It's supposed to be a Christmas ornament. Actually, I think it probably takes a lot of batteries and it's something totally different. You be the judge. Now this is a little quieter section, off the beaten track a little bit down here, but you can see this is probably very residential and gives you an idea. Rotterdam is very different from Amsterdam as well, as I said before. I'm not particularly sure that I like it as well. Maybe because it's too modern. It doesn't seem to have the old world flavor, but it may grow on you as time goes by. I don't hate it or anything like that. Don't want people saying I'm being negative. Heaven forbid. So, but I thought you might enjoy seeing where the real people live in Rotterdam. If you see that building in the distance, I'll pull it up a little closer. It looks like it's falling over. Just an example of some of the unique modern architecture that's here in Where
Rotterdam.
Are we? Rotterdam. That's the word I wanted. We had a couple of beers for lunch. Now that part in the distance, according to what Walter said, is the older part of Rotterdam, where that tower is. Kind of a cool bridge. Down here's where the water taxis are, we think. And more of the skyline. Here's a little better shot of that bridge and surrounding very interesting architecture for those high rises. Hello everybody, it's Walter and Steven, direct from Rotterdam. Yes, today we made it to Rotterdam and on the train system as usual, and we have a whole bunch of videos about what we saw, what we did on our first half day really here in Rotterdam. Tomorrow we are off to, where are we going?
Kinderdijk.
Kinderdijk. What's in Kinderdijk?
Windmills.
Okay, windmills. Original windmills?
Yeah, old ones.
Old windmills. So, tourist trap. And we're taking the water taxi there. So we went out and walked around to figure out how far we are from the water taxi, and we're about a half-hour walk away from it. But we saw some of the sights of downtown Rotterdam. It's definitely a little different from Amsterdam and from Zwolle and Dumbledore.
Apple.
I know, but I like to call it Dumbledore. It sounds more like fun, like we're in Hogwarts or something in a Harry Potter thing. Anyways, as you see, I'm looking out the window at the skyline. It's very modern city in looks because what? The Second World War got bombed the shit out
In
of
the
it.
Second World War, Rotterdam is not cruise port, it's a shipping port. It's the main shipping port of Europe. And it got heavily bombed during the war, so it was basically flattened.
So there's not much left of the original city, and they redid it all and did it in a very modern way. And you want to know something? If you're coming to Holland, I wouldn't recommend Rotterdam if you want the real flavor of Holland as your first stop. I'm sure it has its appeal. Well, we're going to be here 5 days, so it better have some appeal. But if you want to see the more traditional, the classic, the old Netherlands, then you'll need to go to Amsterdam. You need to go to other places besides
Yeah, pretty
here.
much any other city. I think Rotterdam's the only one that's very modern. There are sections of Rotterdam that are older. And we didn't see them today, but there are sections that you can go to and get that feel. But the parts that we saw today are all brand new and modern.
Yeah, and we stopped and had pizza for lunch and a couple of beers. And the place we were in, the waitress that waited on us had lived in Canada for a few years and had gone to, it sounded like she went from elementary school, and she moved back to Europe. She's originally from Belgium, and of course, so you could definitely hear the French accent. And we noticed that when she was, talking to us at first, and then she came over and asked us where we're from. And we talked about Canada, and her brother's out going to university in the University of Victoria, out on the west coast of Canada, and that's where she had lived as well. But she said, I asked her, so what was it that made you want to come back to Europe? And it was hard for her to put a finger on it, but I could understand what she was probably saying. I mean, we've always been raised as Canadians, so we're kind of used to how backwoodsy, for lack of a better term, most Canadians are. I mean, the area we live in is fairly sophisticated, whatever that word means.
But Europe itself is much more advanced. And,
in many ways.
In many ways, yeah.
And so I could see why she may want to come back. Now, I wouldn't want to live here because I'm not used to that. I'm used to the backwoodsy.
No, but if anything, if we had to live here, it would be easier for us to live here than it would be to live in the USA.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. With that. But anyway, so it was just interesting talking to her about it. And, well, she got a nice tip. So, because, two old men, young thing.
She chatted us up.
So, yeah, well, we may be gay, but we're still a sucker for and she was an attractive young lady,
yes,
and well-spoken, and didn't seem to be any flies on her whatsoever. So, yeah, whatever, maybe we were sucked in. But anyway, she got a nice tip. So, yeah, that's our first day really here, and you're going to see all this stuff we're talking about and some more, like do check out the Santa Claus statue.
Yeah, our pizza was pretty much the first sort of semi-North American thing that
we've had since we've been here. Yeah, it was good pizza. It was good. We haven't had a bad meal yet here, really.
No, actually, the food's been very good here.
Yeah. So but anyways, speaking of talking about the things we've talked about so far in these videos, we've had one, maybe two, hard to say, it could be the same person, who thinks that me especially, am being very negative about this trip. And the other comment that really got my goat was she was going on about the fact that we went too fast past the works of art. She would have liked to know more about each piece, and she would like to know who the artist was, and she would like to know about their history. And I am not a university professor, and I don't play one on YouTube either. And I took a little bit of offense to this, because she's basically trying to hijack our trip. Let's get something straight, people. Yes, we're making these videos, but we're not making these videos as a travel log for you. It is a diary of what we did on our trip that we have chosen to share with you. So, yeah.
I mean, we do things on trips that other people wouldn't do. Some people, like we've observed people going to the art galleries and that, and they basically spend half an hour in front of each painting. We've never been like that. We're like, okay, that's a painting, we'll see that.
Well, she was trying to infer from her little discussion there, at least I took it this way, because it was a fairly snarky remark that, oh, you're a couple of yahoos, you don't know anything about art. We will admit to that. Yes, I don't like the word Yahoo, but no, we are not art professors. We don't profess to know anything about art. We appreciate art kind of like the way most quilters appreciate fabric. If it's pretty and you like it, that's good enough. If you learned a little bit something about it in the background, that's good enough. Will we ever remember all the stuff? Like when we went to the palace, and that was the one she was talking about, we could have rented audio guide, or we didn't even have to rent it. We could have downloaded it to our phones if we had our earplugs with us and stood in front of each piece of artwork and listened to a 5-minute commentary about this, that, and the other thing. And guess where that would all go? In here, right out there.
I can think of so many trips we've gone on over the years where we've actually had a tour of an art gallery or something and been told all kinds of stuff about it. And I can honestly tell you I do not remember a thing about them.
If you are somebody who studied art in university or college, if you are somebody who's a real art lover and you enjoy the knowing all about the background of the artist who painted it and the history behind it. And that can be really interesting. I'm not saying it's not interesting, because there are times when, yeah, I'm really interested in that. But it's not my main focus when it comes to art. I look at it and go, that's pretty.
Like, I mean, we pretty much zoomed through the Van Gogh Museum. And we did the same through the Rijksmuseum. But we've done that when we went to the Louvre.
Yeah, we can do the Louvre. We can do the Louvre in under 90 minutes and see everything. And you're going to, no, you couldn't possibly. Yeah, we can. Now that you're going to say, well, you didn't really appreciate the trees. Yeah, I did. I appreciate the fact that these are works of art. I appreciate the fact that these are very talented artists who have created these. I appreciate the fact that there's a historical significance to these pieces of art you're seeing. But it doesn't mean I have to stand there and try and absorb every little minutia fact about it. You know, you get people who go, oh yes, last year when we were in Paris or Rome or something, we were at the Vatican Museum. We just could have we spent the whole day there, and we want to go back the next day, but our itinerary wouldn't allow us. And they sit at the dinner table there and bore you to death with everything that they wrote down or recorded or can remember of each piece of art. And probably 9 times out of 10, even the people who really do have an art appreciation are probably listening to these people drone on and are going, give me another glass of wine. Yes, I'm drinking wine. So, you know, it's each his own. If that's what turns your crank, that's great. But let's go back to what I'm saying. We're not doing this trip for you. We are doing this trip for us. We're doing this trip because Walter wanted to revisit his roots. That's why we're doing this trip. We didn't come here to absorb the art and the architecture and the culture. What we absorb, we absorb. And that is okay with us. It's our trip after all. But this person's making it sound it should be about them. The only thing I can assume, and you know what happens when you assume, but I'm going to take the chance, that this person's never really traveled. But you want to know something? You want to go on a virtual trip? You want to absorb art? In this day and age, that is really easy to do. You go on the internet. You can find virtual tours of any major art gallery in the world with a commentary. You can find interactive videos that allow you to see the art up close and almost personal. You know, that's the way the world is now. You can't touch the art anyways when you go in the art galleries. So, sneeze. So, you know, what's the difference? Unless you're going to purchase that piece of art and bring it home and mount it on your wall and put little silk ropes or something in front of it and charge admission for people to come into your living room and look at it, it doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. So I don't appreciate those kind of comments. I also don't appreciate the comments that say I'm being negative. I am not, and I want to thank those of you that support it, what I'd already said before. I am giving you an honest opinion based on my experience. It doesn't mean I don't like the trip. I'm having a really good time. I'm enjoying the trip. I have learned many, many things here. It's nice to see where Walter's roots were. And the other things that we've seen. And we still have more to see. But I'm not going to sit there and blow air up your skirts and say, you know, oh, this was absolutely lovely. You must go here. Oh, you're just nobody if you haven't seen this or tasted this or drank this or whatever. No, not the way I do things. I'm telling, this whole trip is from our point of view. And we may get a couple of things sort of wrong on our facts. Well, go ahead and fact check if you wish. But I just think when people make snarky comments like that they have a deeper issue. You know, they've probably never been anywhere in the world. And, you know, I don't want to say it, but the people that are least traveled in the world are probably from that part of North America that's below the 49th parallel. Yeah. So, yeah. And travel is expensive. And I get that. I mean, this trip is no little, like, didn't cost us a couple of cents for it. We're not done spending
It
yet.
doesn't matter where you go, actually. It doesn't really matter where you go in the world. No trip is cheap.
And we do not tend to cheap out with hotels. You'll see pictures in the video that comes attached to this later of what we're staying in here. We're staying in what's called an efficiency unit, but it's very nice. But it's called an efficiency unit.
And it probably, the room probably costs about as much as a regular hotel room. But we have some kitchen facilities, and it's more like a little apartment.
Which is nice. Like, we went out before we started this video and picked up a few things for Brecky. And some beer and wine as well. Because, well, this particular hotel doesn't include breakfast with it. We were spoiled at the one in Zwala because, well, we paid for that, but it was very, very nice. And we ate more than we ever eat for breakfast. So yeah, good thing we're doing a lot of walking. But, you know, we're not staying in the absolute grandest of hotels, but we're not staying in flea bags either. They're comfortable. Well, you know, they're still expensive. We are...
And I also pick the places based on location, because the place we stayed in Zwala, well, actually that's a place that we knew about for a long time. We stayed there the last time we were there, and we sort of knew it. And also because it's within a couple of blocks of the train station. And the one that we're staying in Rotterdam right now is also right next to the train station. So we don't have far to go when we want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Now, a few of you have written things about, have we seen this or have we seen that? In some cases, yes, we have. Some cases, we're about to see it. In other cases, no, we didn't know about that.
Or we just aren't willing to do it.
Or we're just not going to do it because it's kind of out of our way. And in our minds, it's really not worth the effort. Because there are lots of things you can go and see over here. You're not going to see everything and do everything in the time you have. But some things are just not worth it.
Yeah, like there's an area just north of Amsterdam. They have a few towns and that. And if you book a tour or something like that, 9 times out of 10, they'll take you to those places. So they're very touristy and everything else. And I didn't really want to pick the places that were maximum touristy. It's always touristy if you go to Rotterdam or Amsterdam. But like, for instance, when we went to Zwala, which is my parents' hometown, it isn't very touristy. And that was pretty obvious that, for one thing, I don't think they have gotten a lot of North American visitors there because they had some issues with speaking English.
Yeah.
So,
you know, but I mean, they are Dutch, so I mean, Dutch is their first language. So of course you're going to expect they're going to speak Dutch better than English. And that's fine. We know that. I guess what really got my goat with that comment was she made it sound like we are completely naive about traveling. We are not.
No, we've traveled all over the place.
We've been around the world.
We've been to lots and lots of art galleries. We've been on lots and lots of tours. And one thing we don't like is having to take a tour and listen to every explanation of every single art piece, because I know as soon as I leave that place, I'll never remember anything.
Hey, actually, when they move on to the next piece of art, I've already forgotten what they just said about the other piece, too. And what am I going to do with that information? Really? You know, my head can only hold so much information. And like I said, in this day and age of the internet, if I really need to find out something about a piece of art or a sculpture or whatever, I can Google it. And I can learn all I need to know about it from that. That's the beauty of the 21st century.
I think the reference was also made because we were going through the palace or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the art, what they do is they recreate these, the rooms, and it was said that rooms in the palace were recreated to what they were like when the palace was originally built. So a lot of the artwork that's on the walls there are reproductions.
They're not the originals.
They're not original arts of work. They're just reproductions.
And if they were priceless originals, they would not be hanging on the walls of this palace. They would be in a museum like the Louvre or whatever the equivalent is here in Holland, in the Netherlands, whatever.
Rijksmuseum.
Oh yeah, the Rijksmuseum. Yeah. or the Van Gogh or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they wouldn't be left on the walls of this palace that all the tourists trip through. And yes, I guess, and I didn't realize it again. Oops, my bad. A couple of the rooms were upside down, especially the bathroom. But you know, you guys got a kick out of that. You thought that was kind of funny, and I took that as not a criticism of my camera work. You realized, oops, it's an oops. It lasted like a whole 10 seconds or whatever. No big deal. See, when I make these videos that you're seeing right now, I'm doing them on the fly. I'm not doing them in the way that I usually do my regular videos. I have to use limited programs on my phone, basically, to create these. So that's why they're going to be maybe a little screwed up. Sorry about that. So sad. Get over it. Turn your phone, turn your...
Stand upside down.
Yeah, stand upside and look at it. You know, help, blood will rush to your head and you'll pass out and die. Okay, well, whatever with that. But I did take offense to that comment that was made. And you'll say, oh, well, you shouldn't. Maybe she didn't mean it that way. Yeah, I think she did. I really did, because it wasn't the first time she made a comment like this. So I hope she didn't take offense from my comment, which basically said, I don't think you obviously have never traveled anywhere in the world, and I don't think you really know what you're talking about. So if you have nothing good to say, say nothing. So just shut up or unsubscribe.
Or both.
Or both. Because I'm not going to lose sleep over one crazy old person on there who, you know, has an issue that's deeper, that they want to throw knives at me. I guess it worked. If they wanted to get a row out of me, it worked. Bully for her. Whatever. So, yeah. So, we've got some video on here for you to see today, and I think this video connection in this hotel is a lot better than what we had in the Zwala, although for some reason, in our last few hours of it in Zwala, it seemed to be working really wonderful. Wouldn't that be the way it is? So I still don't know if it was user error or be quiet or it was something to do with their system and it just got fixed when we were leaving. I don't know. But anyways, I hope this one is, I think this one's going to be a little better. Okay, so tomorrow we are off to Kinderdijk. That's it, Kinderdijk. Is that a small lesbian?
I don't
know. Anyways, that's where we're off to tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of what we saw today. Bye.
Bye.